Hi everybody, I am Branden Sewell, owner of Seal Pro Painting and the host of the Off the Ladder podcast. And we are here to help home service business owners learn so that they can lead well and ultimately live life off of the ladder. Now, today, this is going to be our first episode. In this first episode of the podcast, what I want to do is share with you my story, how I got started in the painting industry, and why I would like to do Off the Ladder. Now, when I was a kid, I grew up with a single mom. I moved all over the East Coast. I was born in Maryland, but after I was around 4 or 5, I moved to South Carolina, and then from there, North Carolina. Lived in Alabama for a little bit, moved back to North Carolina, then Florida, back to North Carolina, and then back to Florida, to Maryland, to Florida, just a lot of moving. Now, I grew up with a single mom. My mom raised myself, my younger brother, and my 2 older sisters, as well as my oldest sister's 2 kids. With that amount of responsibility on a single mom, obviously, we had some financial struggles as I was growing up. That's why we moved around a lot. There was a lot of different struggles that we faced as a family. And as I reflect on that, I've moved over 50 times and I'm only 31. But when I reflect on those challenges as a kid, one thing that I realized is that it was making me resilient. It made me into a person who could adapt to change very well because I was put in different environments constantly. It also helped me to be really great at establishing relationships because I was constantly being moved from one place to another. I had to be able to make new friends, make new connections. And so really, even though that was challenging as a kid, it contributed to some very valuable life skills. So when I reflect on, the hardships, I'm actually thankful for them because they shaped me into who I am today. There's even more that I could go into in detail as far as the hardships, but the lesson here is that those hardships, those challenges shaped me into who I am. Now, fast forward to when I was 17, I had no intentions of going to college when I graduated from high school. My goal actually was to go into the Navy and to join SWCC, which is basically like the rescue swimmers of the Navy SEALs, and that was my goal. Unfortunately, my mom talked me out of joining the military. She was obviously concerned for me. And I was a ocean lifeguard at the time. And, so then my next goal was, I really loved my job as an ocean lifeguard. And I was like, I'll just continue that career path, maybe go and become an EMT and then paramedic and make a career out of that. My mom actually talked me into going to college. When I was younger, I really didn't see that as an option for me, but we kind of struck up a deal. She just asked me to apply to one college, which was Florida Tech, and the whole goal was that I would be able to surf on their surf team, because I grew up surfing, and that was one thing that attracted me to going to Florida Tech, was being able to take that hobby and that passion and do it at the collegiate level. So I ended up, the only college that I applied for was Florida Tech, also known as Florida Institute of Technology. It's the only college I applied for. I got in and I started starting in the business school, and my focus was to get a marketing degree as my bachelor's. Well, I got about a semester and a half in, and I actually decided to drop out. I knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur at that point. I knew that I would probably have a business, so I left. Then I actually ended up making the decision to go into full-time ministry. I moved from Florida up to Baltimore, Maryland, where my dad lived, and I went to a Bible college there, a 2-year program, and then I went into an internship at the church that Bible college was at, and then I went on to work in full-time ministry for a few years. Now, that came to an end. I left the church that I was working at full-time, and I got reconnected with one of my former supervisors who owned a painting company. Now, when I got reconnected with him, I was actually working for a roofing, siding, windows, and doors company in Baltimore, and I was doing door-to-door marketing. Now, when I left the church, I was newly married. I was desperate to find any job that I could to help contribute and pay the bills. And so the first opportunity that came up was this door-to-door marketing opportunity. Now, when I first found the job, they had it listed as entry-level sales. So I came in and I was really looking forward to this, and then they told me what I was doing. I was like, wow, this is not what I expected. I didn't think I was going to be driving around in a van and going door to door and just trying to get leads for a roofing company. But it turns out that I was actually really good at it because I was clean cut, I was professional, and I really knew how to communicate with the homeowners. So it paid the bills. Now, it took a lot of resilience and drive to even just do that job because you're dealing with rejection every single day over and over and over again. However, I knew that I had to do it because I had to pay the bills. So the supervisor that I used to work with, who owned a painting company, found out I was working there, and he actually offered me a job to come work with him in his painting company. The initial job for me was doing admin, so I was answering the phones, scheduling the leads, updating the database for the business. And then shortly after that, it turned into also doing marketing. So I basically redesigned the whole company's marketing stuff, from print marketing, digital marketing, you name it. Got the company onto all social media platforms, updated the website, just basically completely redid everything for that company. And then I transitioned into sales, which I had a background in sales when I was going to Bible college. I actually worked for Sprint for a few years, and that's where I really developed the skill of selling. And then in working with the painting company in Baltimore, I really developed my skills in the area of selling paint jobs. And one of the stipulations that I had for my boss was that if I was brought into his company, I wanted an opportunity within 5 years to be trained to go and start my own location, because the roofing, siding, and windows and doors company that I was working for had a similar opportunity for me to go and move to another market and become a marketing manager. So I wanted to have a similar opportunity, and I wanted to get back to the beach because I grew up on the beach. So it was in 5 years. I want the opportunity to go start a location, basically anywhere on the East Coast that I wanted to. Well, 10 months after working at this company, we were attending a church, and the campus pastors announced that they were going to be planning a church in Southeast Orlando. So my wife and I prayed about it. We felt like we were supposed to be a part of that team. So I went to the owner and I said, hey, I'm going to be moving, and I'm going to be leaving the company. I'm going to be a part of this church plant down in Southeast Orlando. And I basically said, I understand if the deal is not on still because it's only been 10 months, but I appreciate the opportunity. Well, he said, we'll speed things up. We'll go ahead and do it anyway. So we went ahead and we initially started this company as a partnership. So my partners were my former boss, and then I had another partner in the business, which was actually the campus pastor. So he came down here, we started the business, and one thing that I quickly found out in starting that business is that it was extremely difficult to make the numbers work for everybody involved. When you're splitting the pie in three pieces, I wasn't making a lot of money. My partner down here wasn't, and we were sending 10% of everything that we were earning, back up to the other owner, and it was just not beneficial for anyone involved. Well, the owner in Baltimore was obviously making out pretty well. He made back his initial investment and some. But myself and my partner down here, we were really just struggling to even get by. Our first year in business, we did around $500,000 in revenue, which was great as far as like if you're looking at top line revenue. But all of our profits, everything that we were making, was just getting sent away. Fast forward, eventually my partner down here got out of the business, and then it was just me and my partner up north. And eventually I negotiated out of that, because one thing that I just understood is, I was paying for a name, but I was pretty much on my own as far as everything else goes: marketing, advertising, paying for software to manage the business, vendors, everything else was on me. So I had another mentor who he told me, he's like, look, this isn't really beneficial for you. You need to get out of that deal. So I got out. I rebranded in 2020 to Seal Pro Painting. We quickly, grew that brand. I came from a background where I knew how to do graphic design. I knew how to brand. I knew how to do all those things. I knew how to sell. I knew how to get the leads and get the business. So we quickly grew. So from 2020 to 2022, in 2022 we did almost, we were on pace to do $1 million in revenue. Now, this kind of leads me to why I want to start Off the Ladder. During that whole time, I never worked on the ladder. I was never out in the field. I always had guys who were working for me. I was just running the business and getting the work, and all of the production was taken care of by my guys. So that is the experience that I have. I know how to build a business, grow it. I know how to market it. I know how to get the clients. I know how to build the brand and build brand recognition and all of those things. I know how to lead. There's a lot of mistakes that I made along the way, and I want to help others to avoid those mistakes, so that they can get to where I am faster and more efficient. And one of the things that I will say is I highly recommend having a coach in business. There's a lot of things that I was great at, and helped me to get my business to where it was, but there were a lot of things that I didn't know. There were a lot of things that I failed at, and in 2022, the business, we seriously went downhill. We went from doing like 90,000 plus a month to going all the way down to 10,000 was one of our lowest months. And at that point, I hired a business coach. His name is Steve Burnett, and he runs the DYB coaching system. And that was a game changer for me. So I'm a huge advocate for coaching. And what he did is he taught me how to market my business better. So before, I was a big advocate for buying leads, managing the leads well, being one of the first to call them, and being one of the first ones to get out and do the estimate and provide the quote. The only thing is that only works when it works. And you're spending a lot of money. I was spending $6,000 to $8,000 a month on bad leads. And it worked, like I said, until it didn't. And then things just came crashing down. And so with Steve, he was able to teach me how to market my business better through relationships, building community, and building referral business, staying top of mind. So definitely a game changer there. But all that to say is I want to take everything that I've learned, everything that I've been able to accomplish over the last 6 going on 7 years, and impart that into others. And really, the goal is to help home service business owners understand that they don't have to be out in the field doing the work themselves. They can get off the ladder and they can work on their business. It's going to be challenging either way. It's challenging when you're out there in the field, and it's challenging when you're off the ladder. But the benefit of being off the ladder is that you have more freedom. I have freedom to spend time with my family, to serve my community, to focus on my marriage, being a better father, my fitness and health, as well as just having fun. I love surfing, I love fishing, and so really being off the ladder gives me the ability to do those things. Now, there's 4 key areas that you have to focus on in order to be off the ladder. 1, you have to know how to market your business. You have to know how to get that business, bring the leads in, and be able to feed your team. So at Off the Ladder podcasts and everything that we're doing here is going to be teaching those who want to know how to market their business better. Secondly, you have to have a system for sales. If you don't know how to sell jobs to feed your team and to make a good enough profit margin to support your business, then you're going to fail. You're not going to be able to do it. So that's the second thing that we're going to focus on is sales. How can we get better at sales? How can we improve our profit margins and our bottom line so that we can have a business that allows us to work off the ladder? Third, you have to have systems for your production. You have to be able to delegate and trust your team to be able to go out and do jobs from start to finish without you there. You have to have the systems in place so that they know that they can get it done without your oversight and having to essentially babysit your crews and your teams. They should have the authority to make decisions and get jobs done and take care of your customers. That's all done through having a clear mission and values and establishing great culture within your company. Lastly, that leads me to leadership. You have to be a leader. You have to be leading yourself so that you can lead your team well. And that's a constant thing that you have to work on. You're not just going to arrive. You have to create a lifestyle where you understand that you will always be learning and growing. So you invest in yourself through coaching and mentorship, as well as reading books, listening to audiobooks, listening to podcasts, watching YouTube videos, but you're constantly learning and improving yourself so that you can be a better leader and lead your team well. When you're able to lead well, then you're able to get off the ladder and focus on the things that matter the most. And when you do that, then you have to lead in those areas of your life that matter more, like leading in your spiritual life, leading in your marriage, leading as a father, leading as a friend, leading in your health and your fitness, leading in all areas of your life, and always committing to improve and get better. That's what Off the Ladder is all about. It's building businesses that give us the freedom to focus on what matters most. So here at Off the Ladder Podcast, that is going to be our focus constantly. And this isn't going to be for everybody. If you are the owner-operator who is really dedicated to being a craftsman and you're not interested in growing a business to where you can work off the ladder, then that's fine. This isn't going to be for you. This is for those that want to get off the ladder. They want to be the owner, CEO of their business, and they want a business that can run without them present and create passive income for them and their family so that they can really have freedom and focus on what means the most to them. So that is what we're all about. I hope that you'll follow me For more, we have a Facebook group that you can join, Off the Ladder Contractors. You can also check me out on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn at Branden Sewell. That's Branden Sewell, Sewell. You can also check me out at brandensewell.com. I hope that you look forward to being a part of this community and pulling from all of the value that is going to be created there. And we hope that as you're a part of it, you'll contribute and you'll glean from everything that is shared and the relationships that are built there. And hopefully we can all celebrate when we have those businesses that give us that freedom that we're looking for. So I look forward to seeing you for our next episode, which will be with Trenton Miller, the former owner of 321 Space Cleaners. He built a business in 2 years and sold it, and now he's looking to invest in other areas like real estate and growing his real estate business. So be on the lookout for episode 2 coming soon. That'll launch on November 8th. Everybody take care, and let's work on getting off the ladder.